Layman's Guide to Buying Land Plot in India, Part 1 by Xavier in the year 2015. This is a generic guide in terms of what you need to follow when you're intending to buy land plot in India. These are very broad and generic rules that need to be adopted as a checklist or as a guide when you intend to invest in land in India. Uh, and this will be a good presentation to go through when you want to approach a legal or your architect. You will have certain amount of technical know-how as you approach them. It will give you a heads up towards what you need to follow when you want to meet up, have a meeting with the prospective owner, your architect, your legal person, your land agent. So you will not be totally blank. But again, I repeat, this is not a legal or compliant rule book. It is a very common sense layman guide to buying or purchasing land in India. Now let's go on to the next slide and understand what it entails, what are the various documents that are required. And now let's go on to the next slide. Now this slide covers what are the various documents that are required for you to assess whether it's worth buying the land or not. One of the first very important documents that is to be seen is called 712 extract. In Hindi it's called Sadbara, and this is one of the very basic documents which shows various names of how the land has moved from the original owners to the current owners. It mentions dates, times, when this has happened, and whatever dates are mentioned you could correlate it with various agreements that are in the file. It should be a recent version of 712. When I say recent, it means sorry, about maybe 1 or 2 months old. It's one of the basic and a very helpful document to start with. Let's go on to the next document, and it says demarcation document. This is also a document which is looking more like a map. It will show the overall area and then where your plot is located. Various agencies in various cities will issue this document. It may be called as very by different names in different places, but in Maharashtra it is known as demarcation document. And a copy of about a year would be standing valid. In some cases even 2 years document is considered as valid. Third document is called mutation record. It shows how the land is moved from various people, what is the size, and this copy, a latest copy of it, can be obtained from the land record department by paying a small nominal fee. One of your agents could arrange this for you. Fourth is copies of the previous agreements. The current owner will provide all the copies of the previous agreements, which you can correlate to the 712 extract and the mutation records and understand the validity of the agreement. It will give you a history of what has been happening. If in the sale of agreements you find that there is some power or attorney that has been used to sign the agreements, you will need to see the power of attorney yourself as part of the agreements. Remember, if any of the agreements is not signed by the actual previous owners and somebody is representing the owner using a power of attorney, that power of attorney has to be valid in the eyes of law. Otherwise the chain of agreements will fall through and they will not be valid. If you still go ahead with the deal, you will find that the original owner can always stand up and challenge your title to the land. So this is a very important aspect. Many times this is forgotten or not seen properly, that all the people who are signing the agreements have the valid power of attorney. If the power of attorney happens to be notarized or registered, then If the current agreements do not carry the power of attorney, then in that case it can be obtained from the registrar or the required notary. If it is notarized, remember to see a notarized serial number. Just a stamp of notary is not enough. It should carry the serial number of the notary. It is followed by a Gram Panchayat land record copy. Gram Panchayat land record, in case the area falls under Gram Panchayat and not municipal, then Gram Panchayat will have its own records and they can provide a copy on a nominal fee. Guntewadi certificate is a certificate that was being issued some years back in Maharashtra. It is no more issued, and if it is available, it is quite an important document and which could be showing the authenticity of the plot. This is followed by non-agricultural certificate. If the area is under non-agricultural area, the current owner can provide you an NA certificate for the land. However, it's not a very compulsory document, because if the area is in the municipal area, there are times when you could take up an agricultural land in the area within the city and then apply for an NA, and then you do get it. However, if you already have an NA, this is the best scenario to be in, and you can also insist on the current owner to arrange this for you, and you could also even pay for it. However, he could take the responsibility in getting it done for, at least applying and getting it for you. Some areas have court restrictions or court judgments which have been cleared for an area. It could be related to certain reservations could also be issued. Now this is very local to an area. It is not across. However, it is very pertinent to ensure that any court judgments related to an area are carefully studied, and then we understand what are the implications of the same. Municipal map of the area, if it exists, can easily be obtained from the municipal office, and you will find that you will be able to locate your area, and within the area your plot also. Followed by any notification from municipal or Gram Panchayat area. For example, certain areas may be reserved for certain railway or road or ring railway or any certain projects, and you could be well alerted by looking at the reservation notification, and through the help of a legal and technical person, you could do a check on this matter. So broad basis, we have covered some documents. You could always have some add-ons to it, but by and large, this is what needs to be looked at. Now let's move on to the next slide, which tells how the next baby steps need to be taken up. Now you have in the previous slide understood the various documents that are there. Now this is quite a lot of data that you will have in your hand, and not every mind is trained to go through this plethora of data, and even getting it together in one place is a job for the current owner as well as yourself. You will need to engage a competent legal person to do a thorough and a detailed title search. With the help of these documents, I feel preferably the legal person should be residing locally for him or her to access the local land records offices easily. Based on his search of land records and study of the mentioned document, the legal person will prepare a title search report. The title search report is a very valid legal document. So in my view, you can have all the documents being arranged through this competent legal person who has access to the local offices. The legal person arranges everything for you and then puts it in a file, and then based on all the valid evidences in his hand, he prepares a report which is called a title search report. The search report, when you read through, will give you the history of the entire transaction, was the original owner and how the land has been passed to the current owner. It'll also mention any risk issues involved, any legal cases which have been filed, and this will give you a heads up into what you're looking at. Subsequently, this title search report is generally on the letterhead of the legal person, which is clearly stamped and signed, and therefore it forms to be a very important document in subsequent time. In fact, this report will be used for the lifetime of the land record, and there's a lot of responsibility on the legal person to issue this, and so preferably we have to take in a person who would be very interested to do the job. In case your legal person happens to reside in another area, maybe some friend of yours, and then he will need to appoint a local person who goes through everything and then gives it to your person to whom you are acquainted with. But I would always prefer this whole title search report is done by someone who is at the local level, who can access records, understand the language, the local language it is written in, and has access to various offices to get these documents, a copy of these documents after paying the fees. This will be quite helpful. So this ends the first part of the generic land buying series. Subsequently, I'll go into details of each of these aspects. If you're interested, you can look at more of the series and understand how matters have to be proceeded with when it comes to buying land plots in India. Again, I repeat, this is a very general layman's guide. This does not at any point of time uh, substitute the legal knowledge or the technical knowledge which the legal or the architect community would have, and it's always advisable to have these two people along with you guiding you through this process. This presentation will only guide you as a checklist and giving you heads up as to what various matters related to land purchase are. Thank you and look forward to seeing you in the next presentation. Thank you. Bye.